guys, if you want to know what it's like to live overseas, and this is the simplest way I'm going to put this for you, is that you're going to need to do all these things in advance. It's going to take you almost a year to get it done. And that's not an exaggeration. Reason why it's going to take you that long is because there are certain steps you got to take in order to be on top. If you want to stay on top and be on top, what you're going to need to do is be ready. You can't just hop on a plane one way and fly to another country. It doesn't work that way. Sometimes countries have rules that says you have to have an exit ticket to fly out of the country after you've flown into the country. So, for example, you're going to fly to somewhere that requires a visa, or let's just say you're going to fly to Brazil. In advance, you need to go onto the website for Brazil and apply for a visa. I don't know if the visas, for a short while, they were crazy expensive, like $180, but you got to pay for it. Now, when you're on your way to where you're going to go, you're going to need to prepare lots of stuff in advance, because some things, there's nuances about living overseas and being overseas that you may not know. The first thing you need to do is, besides get your passport, is dependent on what kind of passport you want to get. The kind of passport I got was a 52-page passport. That's with all the maximum amount of pages you can get for all your entry stamps. The reason why you need that is sometimes if you need to go by bus and you pass through one country and enter to another, they stamp you on your way in and they stamp you on your way out, and that can add up real quick, and then you'll be out of pages, and then you'll need a new passport. So get yourself the most expensive one, which is 52 pages. It ain't that much more. And when you start working on getting your visas and stuff, you got to have all your paperwork together. But if you're just coming down to visit or scout out an area that you're thinking, oh, you know what, I'm thinking about moving to Nicaragua, okay? And a professor told me that Managua is the capital and it's the place to go. Sure. What they're going to do is, before you leave the United States, you got to contact your bank and tell them that you're going to be traveling. Now, in my situation here, I'm living in Mexico, so I contacted my bank, and you know what you're going to need to do is you're going to have a post office box or something so you can receive your mail, so that somebody who receives your mail can scan it and send it to you. Or you get a mail forwarding service that basically holds your mail until you're ready for it, and then they'll mail it to you. Or you fly to the States a lot, or if you pass the border a lot, and you go to your post office box on a regular basis, check your mail and stuff like that. So there's a lot of services. Mail services are really, really helpful. Now, let's say you want to buy something on Amazon or eBay. Well, if you go and you put it on your address here in Mexico or in Colombia or wherever, once it goes through customs, they're going to inspect it, they're going to determine the value of it, and then they're going to try and fuck you on taxes. Because basically, all the mail system on the way into most Latin American countries are corrupt. And corrupt in a way that it's like it doesn't matter what it is that you're shipping. If it has a value to it and they feel like they can extract money from you just to get your stuff back, they will try it. So where I am here, I bought a whole box of basically fake, really, really realistic looking security cameras. And it was to scare off the thieves that walk around here at night in Mexico. And it worked like a charm because they have a little red light that blinks on and stuff like that. But when it came from China, and I went to go pick it up, they said I had to pay like 700 and something pesos in taxes, which is not much. It's $35. But I got a box of 10 fake security cameras that cost $5 each. So you see the situation is that the system in most Latin American countries are more strict than the U.S. as far as stuff coming into the country. Did you know you can't even mail aspirin to anywhere in any country? You got to have permission. You have to have a receipt. You have to have a letter. You have a non-toxic report. There's all this stupid shit that you guys don't know about. That when you move overseas, you need to have in position, in place, in advance, so that you don't end up with your pants down and being without money or being without communication. All right, so the second thing you need to do is you need to have a cell phone that's capable of calling the United States, calling 800 numbers from whatever foreign country you're in to the United States. Now, how do you do that? Well, you can get a MagicJack, which is a device that you can buy in Walmart, plug it into your laptop or into whatever. Plug it into your laptop and plug a regular phone in it, and you can call regular numbers in the States for free. That's what you're going to need, some kind of way to call your bank or whoever's of importance in your life. You call your credit card company, because they don't tell you this, because you always have the 800 number registered in your phone. You need the stateside number that's going to call direct, because you can't call 800 numbers from overseas. It just doesn't work. You need to have the physical number with the area code in order to be able to call these places. So those two things are real important. You got to have your banking info, your banking stuff in advance. I would suggest getting 2 banks, so that in the event one card doesn't work for some reason, you always have a second one as a backup. And you should be able to transfer from one bank account to the other. Now, as far as like money, when you fly into the country, don't bring too much dollars with you. It's so much easier just to go to the ATM and pull out whatever the current market currency is. And the banks have all the ATMs in the airport, so there's really no reason why you shouldn't be able to just go to any bank ATM, pull out a reasonable amount of money, take that money. Excuse me, what am I talking about? You don't need to exchange money if you pull it out of the ATM. So you always have money in hands, and you get it at the market rate. But if you come to, let's say, Mexico with a whole fucking bunch of cash, and you have to change it at one of these Casa de Cambio, you're not going to get the value of your dollar. Right now it's like 16. They might sell you at 14 and charge you out the ass. So that's why I say, in advance, have your stuff lined up. These are silly nuances that, I'm gonna do a little story time with you about a guy that came from Colombia. He was a firefighter who was kind of dense. God bless him. And he wasn't very smart. I'll put it to you that way. I could tell from the beginning when he was emailing and calling and sending messages and stuff that he was not very smart. And I'll be honest with you, he said that he was a first lineman or something like that? Bullshit artist. He just wanted to get out of Colombia. He just wanted to go to the United States. So he came to the fire academy because he knew that he would be able to sleep here for free. And so the whole time he was planning on going to the U.S., he would just lie to us. He'd be like, well, what's your plan, man? You're gonna go to class? You're gonna become a firefighter? What's your deal? And then he completely switched up on it. Went from being Mr. Yes sir, disciplined, sweeping and everything, to not doing anything, sleeping around in the station, not picking up, not doing anything. But here's where he fucked up. I told him specifically, when he comes from Colombia, when he goes to the airport, there are 2 buses. One bus goes directly to here. One bus goes directly to Querétaro, which is about 45 minutes out that way. Now, when you decide to go to a certain town, you need to be prepared in advance. You don't need to buy bus tickets online in advance or anything like that. What you need to do is, while you're at the airport, figure out this is what I'm telling the guy, very specific instructions, because one bus only goes out in the early morning and one time late at night directly to the town where we're in. Or you go to the other place, is the North Terminal, and it takes you directly here, and you're here within, a short amount of time. Not only did he not take the right bus, he took to the bus in the next town over. 2, he didn't change his Colombian pesos. So, welcome. The second thing I told him to do is change his money at the airport, because when you get to the airport, there are places there that'll change Colombian pesos for Mexican pesos or whatever currency you wish. Then he didn't do that. So he came here with all these pesos. I'm like, ugh. He didn't buy a chip in his phone. I said, when you get to the airport, go to the nearest cell phone place and buy a chip. This guy's from Colombia. He knows how the damn system works. He gets He doesn't get a chip. His phone doesn't work. He's got a Colombian chip that doesn't work. He takes the wrong bus to the wrong town, wrong terminal, leaves the wrong terminal because he doesn't fucking listen. I give him a list of stuff, very detailed. You can understand why this could be frustrating because now he's in another town at another bus terminal, and it's going to cost him money to go from that bus terminal back to this one because he didn't listen to begin with. And he gets stuck at this other airport. He can't call me because he didn't get a fucking chip in his phone. So you can see how things like this can be very, very, very frustrating. And these aren't miscommunications. These are just people who just don't have no common sense. So it's not easy for a person who has no common sense to live overseas. So you're going to need to get your banking in order. You're going to have to get your communication to call your home country. If you need to call your bank, you need the direct numbers. The direct numbers to call your bank, not the 800 number, you need a regular number. In the event you need to pick up a regular phone and call. See, down here in Mexico, you can call worldwide on a regular landline. I don't know if you guys knew that, but phone calls are free to anywhere in the world as long as it's a regular, normal number and it's not an 800 number. You can call anywhere in the U.S. for free from your regular landline, from a cell phone that you buy for $50. You can call everywhere, but you can't call 800 numbers. I mean, it's logical, right? You can't call Japan's 800 numbers and expect it to be free. So the same goes for the States. You can't call 800 numbers to your bank. There's a lot of this stuff that you have to prepare for in advance. Now, what about where you're going to go? Okay, where you're going to stay when you get where you're going. My best recommendation is to map out where you want to go and then look up Airbnbs that a lot of gringos or a lot of tourists have stayed in that are from your country. So they can tell you where stuff is, to tell you whether or not the area sucks or if it's nice. They may even include tips of places to go, but I would zoom in on the area of whatever place it is you're going to go. You're going to find your grocery store, you're going to find a pharmacy, and some way of transporting yourself back and forth. Because if you live really remote, like some of you guys want to live out in the country, I'm going to go live off the grid like you did. Yeah, well, that's not fun. I lived off the grid for 8 months, 9 months out in Puebla in the forest, without water, without electricity, without Wi-Fi, basically just living out there with my dogs on a cot in the middle of nowhere in the country. And I lost all that weight. I lost 60 pounds or whatever. Good for me mentally, but as far as convenience-wise, it's the most inconvenient shit ever. So anybody that says, I'm going to go move overseas, oh my God, my boy, what's up, boy? I'm just curious, man. We were just talking about you. We were just talking about you yesterday. And I was just wondering, somebody from Holland who knows the deal. I'm not politically anything, so it doesn't matter to me what's going on, but what I find upsetting is that people are not prepared when they want to go move overseas. And then when they get overseas, they get caught with their fucking pants down. You follow me? Fantastic, bro. I'm glad it's here. Hi. Tristan. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Hi, Tristan. I'm her son. My name is Tristan. Great. Glad to meet you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to call yourself a passport bro, but here is basically what a passport bro is. Passport bro has basically found Western women to be impossible and found that women overseas are more agreeable, a lot shorter too, and better conditioned physically. So they go overseas to find wives to marry and stay overseas. What a passport bro is not is a tourist or a monger or something like that. And one of the guys that's here in Mexico, he's getting famous. He's rather, popular guy. He wants to do passport bro trips. And I'm like, what does that mean? Passport bros aren't like city girls that, gonna go to this certain country and fuck a bunch of dudes. That's not what we do. We move overseas and we stay because We're trying to get away from degeneracy, not move towards it. How do you guys feel about that? And moving forward from wherever you were, going to wherever you're going to be treated better. So those are the best points I can absolutely make. Is that banking, communication? Now, what about health insurance and stuff like that? Well, if you get sick for whatever reason, and you have to be in one of these third world countries. Some third world countries have North American standard levels of surgeons and things like that. So you're going to get North American standard of treatment, if not better. And the cost is going to be about 30% of whatever it is that you're... So say it's cost $1,000, it's going to cost you $300. Pretty simple. Every bit of cost that you would have in the States, it's going to be about 30% of whatever it is in the States. Now, how do you prepare mentally for it? You need to have some support. If you're going to move to another country, you need to have some support back in your home station, wherever you are, for someone to check your mail, someone to communicate with you in the event of an emergency. If someone needs to do some government shit for you, you need to have a virtual assistant or somebody who's going to receive mail for you that's going to say, hey, I got this letter in the mail, I need to do this. You always have to have somebody there. So I always recommend either getting a mail forwarding service or getting a relative to handle it for you and getting a P.O. box. So then it's going to forward to you. Because you're going to need a physical address for certain shit. But I haven't had a physical address in the U.S. and I have no idea how many decades. And I haven't needed it, although I've had some close calls a few times where I've needed to get a hold of certain stuff. I was not able to call because I didn't have a way to call the U.S. You can't call 800 numbers from a cell phone. So I had to download the MagicJack app. Which, by the way, if you buy the MagicJack, if you buy that and you plug it into your computer, it gives you a phone number in the States you can call for free. And it sucks, but it works. It used to be worse, far, far worse. But it's a way that you can call anywhere in the whole world using this device, or you can download the app on your phone, and you can make calls and text and everything with this stuff. And I'm not sure what they cost, $60 or something like that, and they're good for like 5 years. But you can download it and put it on your laptop, but you can also download it, put it on your phone. And once you got your phone number set up, it's awesome, to be honest with you. It's a good way of, doing stuff with you can use it on your laptop and talk and communicate and everything else. But anyway, Void, man, I wanted to talk to you. I'm hopefully that you're still on. I was just curious about what's going on in Holland. And if there was a recommendation, because everyone recommends the Far East, everyone recommends Central and South America to move away permanently, or the Philippines, or Bangkok, Thailand. Not me. I mean, I'm down in Mexico for good reason, and economically it's the best. As far as security, no, it's not secure. But and that goes for everything. I mean, it's not secure because there are too many psychopaths down here. There are so many people down here that are they erroneously think that because you're North American, hey, good morning, that if you're North American or you're European, there's a good possibility you might have a big old target on your head. And that's true. Because envy is one of the 26 emotions. When you go to a certain country where people make less money than you, you see, this is the part that I dislike about part of the United States is all they talk about is money. Only thing they ever bring up that is of any importance is how much money they make, how much stuff they have, and just comparing their insides to other people's outsides. And that means the outside of me, which looks so good, and the inside of you, it looks so bad. So you're comparing your insides to my outsides. You see me doing well. You see me driving a nice car. And so envy sets in. And most countries where you've got, rich gringos or rich tourists that have liquid cash, just abundance of money, buying stuff and throwing money around like that, they'll judge you. And they judge the locals too and make fun of the locals. when in a lot of ways, a lot of these locals are better than you. They're better people than you. They're smarter than you. They're better husbands. They're better wives than you. They're better cooks than you. They're much more hospitable than you. And they're basically open to a lot of stuff. And it's not because you're better than them. They are actually being nice by offering their best to you. When you go to another country, I've been in Mexico for 7 years, and I've never had a problem with security, not once. And I live in the troubled areas, some of the worst parts of where I live, and I've never had a problem. And that's partly because the places that I go, I'm not going to places where there's drugs or any kind of like, I don't even know, criminal activity. I don't go to these places. Yeah, stay away from the trouble zones. And you're going to live good. I mean, like I said, from day one here, I knew in advance where to go and where not to go. You stay out of this area and you only stay in this area. And then eventually you adapt and you learn and you get to know people, and you know you don't go over this area. You always take an Uber to that area. Let's see. I'm from Mexico. Is safe. Yeah, I'm in Mexico. I live here too. And yeah, it could be safe. It could be very unsafe for people who don't know how to situational awareness, head on a swivel. Because if you're unaware, people could rob you. People could definitely rob you. If you're by yourself late at night, what's the point of that? You don't want to do that. But I live very good here in Mexico. Mexico here specifically is a zone that doesn't have cartel activity. Where my other house has cartel activity. Right now, there's cartel activity in Celaya. And I'm not going there until I get a green light that says there's no more shit going down. Because here where I am, the cartel family members live in this region. So the rule is that if all the cartel members' families live in one specific safe zone, there's no cartel activity going on. So don't worry about that. You're going to go to places like border towns like Tijuana, Juarez, stuff like that. You're going to have activity. This is the way it is. So don't go there. Pretty simple, right? Anyway, if you had enjoyed this, I wish you would hit that like button. I'm the professor. This is the Late Night Alumni, and I'm out. Hit that like button, guys. I appreciate you, and I'm out.